Hi everyone, thanks for joining me today. Hope you are all well and safe and having a great day. Ever since Rebelle 4 came out with the brand new oil paints, I've been wanting to do a portrait using the oil brushes. So I thought I'd paint Killian. I'm going to begin this video in an unusual way, in as much that I am actually starting with a speed drawing. There's no music over this little bit. I just thought I'd talk over it. And when I do a portrait in oils, I don't normally sketch anything out. I just sort of go in with the paint and start creating the start with a large abstract shape and gradually whittle it down till to become more accurate and more accurate and more accurate. Well, this time I thought I'd do it a little bit different. I wanted to draw it in charcoal, so I've got a charcoal pencil or a pastel for this drawing, and look how big that ear is on the right hand side of the picture. His left ear is massive. Don't know what I was thinking there. It's just, thank God I've rubbed that out. That was quite scary. So the drawing still isn't too accurate. It just sort of gives me a guideline, so I don't have to move stuff around too much. I do end up having to move stuff around quite a bit because I painted over the pencil line. What I wanted to do with the pastels, I'm going into the painting bit now, so I've slowed it down to normal speed again. What I wanted to do was hopefully paint on the charcoal and it smear into the paint, but it wouldn't do it. And the reason it wouldn't do it, if you look over to the left hand side, there are four tiny little brushes, and the second one's highlighted in blue. If I'd have chosen the third one along, which is paint and blend, it would have actually smudged the paint and the charcoal together, which is kind of what I really wanted. At the minute I'm using the thick wet oil brush. No, I'm not. I'm using the flat dry oil brush on this, and I'm just sort of feeling my way, blocking in a few shapes. And I don't know how long I work with this brush, but I do change it. And you see there, I was struggling with the it came up with a little red mark where the color selector on this is different to Krita. I'm not sure which way round it is. One of them you hold the control key down to select the color, the other you hold the alt key, and I get them mixed up all the time because I'm working in both the apps now, and I do find that a little bit confusing. Would have been nice. I suppose I could go into preferences. I should do that, really. Go into preferences and set them both the same, because and I'll probably change this one in Rebelle because I've been using Krita a lot longer, and I think other apps use the same combination as Krita. So don't need to use the tilt function in this because it's oil paint. I do like the thick oil paint, but there's a really cool brush called the filbert brush, which is in the thin paint options. So if you start getting too many brush strokes and you think it's getting a little bit too heavy, you can smooth it out again. And I do want to I don't want it to look like I've cut around this with a pair of scissors, so I do want to kind of keep that edge sort of blurring in almost with the background. So just sort of fiddling around here. I'm not really sure what I'm going to go with as a colour palette at this stage. I kind of feel that I'd like some purples and blues in the skin tones, in the shadows, and not just kind of do it like a realistic portrait. I definitely want to keep it really loose with lots of brush strokes. Looking at that paint, the sketch, and it's way wrong, isn't it? I really should pay more attention when I'm sketching. I'm just sort of so excited. I want to get on with the painting, and I just rush it, and I can see it now, and it does give me problems later on. But I've always painted where I'm continually correcting as I go along. So hopefully this will give you heart. If you haven't tried a portrait before and you want to, you can see how bad I start off, and just by sheer sheer determination, I just keep whittling at it and adding bits and taking bits away and just adjusting things. I finally do get there. So I'm going to speed this up again a little bit, just while I get some sort of the first level of colour, or the first coat of colour over the canvas. If you watch carefully, you'll see me probably change to the filbert brush, which is the very first brush in the thin paint options. Anyway, let's just speed it along a bit. Right, I've got the initial layers of paint on. There are a few issues here. If I look at the side, his left side, and when I say left side, I mean as I'm looking at it, not his actual left side of his face. So as you look at the painting, the left side of the face, the angle's all wrong. His chin is way too centered. It needs to be more over to the right, and the same with the right hand side. That's I've got the opposite problem. So basically, where his head on the photograph is tilted slightly. Mine is almost straight on, and it's a little bit too fat. But I didn't see that at this point. I was too busy concentrating. It's amazing if you concentrate on one thing, and I was concentrating on shadows around the eyes and sort of getting in these sort of shadow areas, you can totally miss something else. And I'm looking at that now, and it's absolutely glaringly obvious. And obviously this skin on his neck, as you look at it on the right hand side, it's way too dark. That's got to lighten up a bit. But I want to go in now and do some detail in the eyes. So I'm going to use the reference image to zoom in, which is really great in Rebelle, the fact that you can actually get right in there and get the eye. And you can see I've got the, as I've started to paint it, I've got the angle way wrong. It's sort of sloping almost down on my painting, the bottom eyelid, and it needs to be going the exact opposite way. I don't even know if I noticed this at this stage. Why am I drawing the eye in first when I should be correcting that? The times I do this, you've probably realised that I'm recording the audio after the painting. I just wanted to chill out and do some painting yesterday. I painted this over 2 days. Half of it was done yesterday and half this morning. And I didn't want to talk while I was painting. I just wanted to paint. So now I'm getting to see the what I did, and it's always the same. When I watch something back, I could almost scream at myself and say, what are you doing? That's just so wrong. I made his eyes a little bit bluer, sort of a bit more colourful than in the photo, but that's okay. I'm all right with that bit. I do hope I sort that out. It's really weird watching this. Man, Steve, what are you doing? Now, am I gonna? A little bit of an effort made there, isn't there? Ah, there we go. I'm starting to see it. Still not enough, really. Still not enough. And I do tweak it in a bit, and you'll see why. Or I can understand now why, looking at this, why I got to a point where I needed to start cutting things out and just shuffling them around a little bit. I just wanted to get the eyes in because I felt that it's all looking a bit mushy, and I just wanted to give myself a little bit of direction and just see where I thought things would be going. I don't know when I'm painting. I must be in a different mindset as when I'm just watching it back, because I can totally see things just so wrong. I'm almost embarrassed to put this up, but I did say earlier on that it's all about, for me, just keep tweaking it and pushing it and looking at it and observing it. Maybe I was a bit tired yesterday. I started painting in the afternoon, and perhaps I wasn't concentrating quite as much, because when I got on it this morning, it seemed to go a lot better the second half. You'll see there's a natural break in the video when we get to it. So it looks the eye looks okay, but you can definitely see it's dipping down, man. Stephen. And that needs to be really black. That's better. I'm glad I'm going in with the black. I want the pupils of the eyes to be the blackest part of the painting. I'll go in with some even more brighter bits of blue. You see, I could have traced this, being digital. I could have just traced around it, but I always feel, you know, I haven't got an issue with tracing. I haven't, and I do tracing from time to time, especially if it's some sort of commission and I'm working to a deadline, and I'm thinking, oh, you know, I need to make some money on this, make a living or whatever. I might do a bit of tracing, but when I'm painting, I don't want to trace. And the reason I don't want to trace is I want to improve. I want to get better all the time, because I'm fairly new to portraits. I don't know, I painted, I don't know, probably 30 or 40 as opposed to hundreds and hundreds of landscapes, maybe more than that, but I don't do them as often as I would like, and I feel that I don't want to trace. I want to, when I've done it, I want to say, yeah, I've done that all by observation, and just to sort of improve my skill all the time and get better. So that's what, you know, if somebody says, you know, is it all right to trace? Yeah, of course it is. And if you want to get a nice result very early on, don't be scared to trace. But as you improve, start trying to do it without tracing, and you will get better and better and better. Trust me. Right, I'm going to speed it up again, because this took me 3 hours to paint, and I can't show you 3 hours of video. That would be outrageous. We're just getting to the end of the first day of painting, just putting the last few brush strokes on, and here we are. This is coming back at it the second day. So I'm looking at it this morning, and I've got some ideas of where I want to go with it. I'm thinking it's not looking too bad at this point. At least I've got half a resemblance, but it all looks a little bit tight, and I want to kind of loosen it up. Maybe put a spark of colour in it here and there. I'll start off very gingerly because, you know, this is the second day. I've just picked the brushes up. I don't want to wade in and go in crashing in too outrageously to start with. And I'm just playing around with colour, really. You can see I've got some yellow in there, and I'm thinking, that's probably a bit too much. Let's just knock it back a little bit. And I start putting some yellow tones on it. And I'm just trying to, what I want to do at this point is just get sort of very slick brush strokes that go in, sort of one brush stroke, bump, on it goes, and that's it. What brush am I using? I'm using the filbert brush, and I found this really good. This was one I was telling you about that smooths out any brush strokes that you don't really want. And I'm looking at the shadows all the time on the photo and the highlights, and trying to get them in, looking at the ears. And I'm very conscious that we've got little bits of pink where the blood vessels are close to the skin, like in the ear tips and around the lips and the nose, and the eyelids, and I want to emphasize those a little bit. Maybe, you know, just overstate them slightly, a little bit more than what they are in reality. This is Killy, by the way. Some of you will know who Killy is. He's my grandson. If you've been watching the channel any length of time, you'll know Killy because I paint him quite often. He's coming up for his 4th birthday. He's 4 in... Is he 4? Yeah, he's 4 in August. So hopefully we'll be able to have a birthday party for him this year. Hopefully we'll be out of lockdown and everything will be getting back to normal when we've all been vaccinated. But Killy was born premature. He was born about 26 weeks or something like that. He then had got a bleed on the brain, and while he was waiting in hospital to have an operation, he caught meningitis, and him and his mummy, Charlotte, spent 6 months in hospital in Birmingham, which is about just over an hour's drive from where we live. And I would go over and spend the weeks with her while she was in hospital. Obviously a partner was at work, but I would go and keep her company and take my iPad and paint in the hospital ward. And there was this period on this channel where I was doing lots of paintings of Birmingham city centre, and there's one or two of sort of tower blocks and flower cellars and things. And a Christmas scene. They've got a wicked Christmas market in Birmingham. And although it was a very, very stressful time, Charlotte wasn't allowed to pick him up for months after he was born, and he got tubes. I've even done a portrait of him with tubes coming out of his head and all sorts. And he had a pretty rough start, bless him. But so his name is Killian Phoenix because, like the phoenix, he's risen and come out of it all. He's not without his problems, though. He's got quite a few issues going on, but he's a lovely little boy, and you can see there he's smiling, and he is always smiling, and he's an absolute delight. I love him to bits, and I always enjoy painting him, although I've given him a bit of a square superhero chin at the minute, Got to sort that one out. Don't know what's going off there. So anyway, I'm going to speed it up again because we've still got ages to go. As you can see, I've thinned his chin down a little bit, made it a little bit more pointed, and I've done a little bit of work on the background, added a few colours in there and sort of roughly brushed them in, and I've kept it a lot lighter on the right hand side to sort of emphasize the shoulder, and with the dark in the shoulder there. And what I'm thinking of doing at this point is creating a new layer and setting the blend mode to multiply, which you've seen me do loads of times. So I'm coming up to do that shortly. I'm just fiddling a little bit. Really happy with how the old thing's coming together now. You'll notice earlier on I use the cut tool to just rotate his face a little bit. I'd kind of drawn him sort of looking straight on and level, and I don't know how I managed to do that, but anyway, I've corrected that as well. I've now got this second layer blend mode set to multiply. You saw that the blend mode option is at the top of the layer stacks, and that way I can start just adding in shadows. And I start off a little bit gingerly, and the beautiful thing about the blend mode is it will add a darker colour, but the other colours below it glow through. Do you see that? So it's like a glaze, a soft glaze, and I wanted to create this bit of a shadow on there, and I'm going in with a sort of a pinky colour to start with, and obviously the darker you go, the darker the shadow will be, and the lighter you go, you can sort of overpaint it and lift it out. So it's a non-destructive way of adding glazes to your painting, which I really like. I love doing this. I do create another layer after this, and just start painting over it again and putting some more highlights in. There we go. You'll see I start messing about. I didn't like that. I didn't like what I was doing there. I don't know if I undo it or overpaint it with a lighter colour, but I know I don't leave it. Yeah, there we go. So you can see I have changed the colours a lot compared to some of them. I've kept similar, and others I've taken artistic license and added my own interpretation to it. The cap he's wearing, by the way, is mine, and he'd had an haircut that day. And his mum's who is an hairdresser, a cutting. They got knits in the nursery he goes to, so she gave him a Peaky Blinders haircut. She says, I'm not having him coming home with knits, don't want that. So she gave him this really wicked Peaky Blinders haircut. I really did like it, actually. And so I put my cap on him because I'm in the support bubble. I go out and help out a couple of times a week, so I was over there helping out. There we go. Really liking it. I just think that adds so much more depth to the painting when you start getting these blend modes going. Right, so I think I'm going to speed it up again now, because there's still a little way to go just yet. I'm at the final hurdle now, just putting in, I've created a third layer, I've put in a few highlights on top of the blend mode, and I want to just add a little bit of sparkle and colour into the background and bring that into his clothes as well, just so it all sort of ties together. There we go, just a few little marks like that. It just merges it all together. And I need to crop it as well. I don't want all of that bit of the canvas at the bottom of the screen. So I'm also just sort of adding a few brush strokes, look, blurring the hat into the face and into the background as well. I can't remember if I signed it before I cropped it or after. I guess we're going to find out. Oh, here we go. I'm signing it now. So I'm finished. Still, I could do loads more to it if I wanted and keep working at it, but I'm happy with it at that stage. I just want to crop it a little bit. There we go. Cropping it pretty much the same size as the photo, really. So there we are. That's it. That's my painting of Killian Phoenix wearing his granddad's cap, so supporting an haircut like the Peaky Blinders, although you can't see that. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please give us a big thumbs up. As always, it's much appreciated. Does help out the channel. Leave any comments down below that you may have. I do read them all. I do answer them all, unless they're really nasty, and then I just delete them. But to be honest, I've only ever had to do that about twice. Shouldn't say that really, because I'm going to get swamped now, aren't I? Anyway, don't forget everybody, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, because I have stacks of videos. Want to be sharing them with you, so don't forget, click the bell icon as well, so you get notified every time I release a video, because I'm at the minute doing 3 videos a week. I say at the minute, I've done that since the day the channel started, actually. 3 videos every week, and I intend to keep going. Thanks again for joining me, staying to the end. Hopefully you will all stay safe, stay sane, and keep painting. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.